Krystal, what are you taking a look at?
Well, we have a new contender for worst possible reaction to the catastrophic train derailment in Ohio, which spewed God knows what into the atmosphere and waterways, causing God knows what kind of long-term damage. The odious Joy Behar knew exactly who to blame for this toxic catastrophe sparked by years of political corruption and corporate greed. The residents of the town themselves. Why? Well, because they were part of the deplorable group who voted for Donald Trump. Take a listen.
I don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district, Donald Trump.
You can actually hear the View audience gasp and boo because they are so shocked. She would take this opportunity to scold these suffering Americans for their political choices. But you know what? I'm actually kind of glad she said it. I'm glad she revealed the ugly core of this type of snide liberalism. After all, her sentiment, it's not a new one. I saw it expressed on Twitter. I saw it hinted at by the analysts who dismissed the positive reception of Trump's visit because this was, quote, Trump country. And we all heard it when Hillary Clinton dismissed Republican voters as deplorable, and when even in defeat, she bragged about winning the places that were optimistic and looking forward versus places presumably like East Palestine, which were, in her words, looking backwards. Now, this type of political analysis, to the extent it can be dignified as such, assumes that the politics of people and regions are set in stone, immovable, irreversible. These people are deplorable, not much you can do about it. Guess we've just got to pull a larger percentage in those optimistic, forward-looking places instead. Now, I used to live in Columbiana County. That's the county where East Palestine is located. I actually lived just about 15 miles from where that Norfolk Southern train derailed. My labor-centric economic populist politics, those were formed in large part by my time living in that region. So I know a little bit about the story of this area and how exactly it became, quote-unquote, Trump country. And that evolution was happening in real time right as I was living there. Decades ago, most of the plates and dishes in the world were actually manufactured in potteries in and around Columbiana County. The town I lived in is called East Liverpool. It was the epicenter of this industry. But nearly all of those jobs went overseas to places like China. Before it was Trump country, this was also steel country, where people could graduate high school and get a tough but stable union job which afforded benefits and a solid middle-class life. Well, that, of course, has all been destroyed, too. In recent years, Columbiana County has been hit hard by the opioid epidemic and by deaths of despair. As tax revenue dwindled, the roads and downtowns crumbled, telling a visual story of decline and of abandonment. Now, Columbiana County used to vote for Democrats. Michael Dukakis, who famously lost in a landslide nationwide. He actually won Columbiana County in 1988. And then Bill Clinton won it twice by comfortable margins in both 92 and 96. However, in a sign of the coming political realignment, Ross Perot actually outperformed in Columbiana County, running on a populist platform against NAFTA and the giant sucking sound of jobs being shipped out of regions exactly like this one. To make a long story short, in the Clinton era, Democrats abandoned the New Deal in favor of neoliberal policies that devastated this region and many others. And when Democrats abandoned Columbiana County increasingly abandoned Democrats. In 2016, the congressional district that includes East Palestine swung 30 points right to overwhelmingly vote for Donald Trump. It was the largest swing right in the entire country. Now, there are a lot of parallels between this latest train catastrophe and the economic catastrophe that was unleashed on this region over decades. Just like with the train derailment, both parties were complicit in the destruction of this region. The abandonment, the betrayal, the union busting, NAFTA, market fundamentalism, permanent normal trade relations with China. At every step, a bipartisan consensus moved in favor of crushing towns just like this one. And just like with the train derailment, the media failed to tell the story of what had really happened here. And that story, at its root, is actually the same story as the train derailment. It's a story about government capture, corporate greed, and a deadly ruling class ideology that treats working class people as mere collateral damage. In their political response, Democrats mostly just chose to ignore these places altogether, except for when it came to election time, choosing to focus instead on their upwardly mobile, creative class workers. Republicans filled in the gap with culture war, same as they did with the train derailment. The Republican narrative said that the problem for this region wasn't bad trade deals that rewarded their donors and destroyed lives. It was immigrants, and it was godless liberals. The problem that led to the train derailment wasn't industry capture and corporate greed. It was wokeism and token diversity initiatives. But a narrative beats no narrative every single time. You only need to look at the response of Trump versus the response of Biden and Pete to this tragedy to understand why. Now, again, Trump and Biden, both complicit in this problem. Both are lying about the root causes. But Trump showed up, and he didn't gaslight residents when it came to the pain that they were suffering. Meanwhile, Biden was in Ukraine, and Pete was feigning helplessness and handing easy grist for the rights culture war arguments by talking about construction crews with too many white men. Then, Democratic media allies sweep in, like the New York Times, to smear anyone questioning the official government narrative as a right-wing conspiracy theorist, and Joy Behar to scold residents and imply that they brought the disaster on themselves. The best response, I think, came not from any politician, but from Erin Brockovich. She offered practical advice from her years as an activist, and she validated their genuine concerns. She told residents, quote, "I feel your angst. I feel your frustration. You are not alone. Every community I've gone to has been given the runaround. You'll be told that it's fine, that you're safe, but it's not fine. I've never seen anything like this in 30 years. She walked them through a PowerPoint with everything they knew about the accident, including Norfolk Southern's disgraceful history of putting profits over people. She brought with her mothers from Flint, Michigan, who had organized in the wake of the mass poisoning of that city, bringing working class people together in solidarity rather than dividing them up by race or by political preference. In hopeful sign, seems like this approach landed, and like people are seeing through some of this bullshit. As one attendee told The Guardian, quote, "I'm trying to be an active citizen, to stand in solidarity with the people here and show my disgust at Trump and Biden, who both had a chance to give us proper safety regulations and instead chose corporate profits. East Palestine deserves better than scolding, better than gaslighting, fake divisive narratives, which are all either party has bothered to offer them. And we sure as hell all deserve better than Joy Behar." Thought her comment was pretty revealing here. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.